Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to our next episode in our Manifestation Matrix program. So far in the previous episodes, we have really covered the foundational basics about the law of attraction. We covered about how we can manifest our desires. And in the previous lecture that I've shared with you, I discussed with you the idea of mind, and I have explained to you how conscious mind, subconscious mind work in a certain sequence to create the results that you want to create in your life. And at the same time, we have emphasized on the idea of how important it is to have a relaxed mind. Because if our mind is not relaxed, we are going to see problems in every situation that is in front of us. But if our minds are relaxed, no matter whatever the conditions are, our focus will always be on finding the positives. And today, I'm going to teach you one idea that has literally made the biggest difference in anyone's lives who has ever tried to practice the power of manifestation. And that idea is to visualize your desire and materialize your desire. Now, as I'm going to share with you the idea of visualization and materialization, you have to understand that the bridge between visualization and materialization is your dedicated, committed, and disciplined action to apply the techniques and the methodologies that I'm about to share with you today. Because you can create the life that you want to create, you can have the results that you want to have, but the only thing that you need to understand is that how to utilize the tools that you possesses. And today we are going to dig deep into the tools that we possesses, and I'll be expanding on one of the most important tools that we have in our conscious mind, our marvelous imagination. Understand that it is your imagination that helps you to build your fantasies, build your power, build your visualizations, put them together, and then ultimately through action, you receive it. But today, I'll explain you scientifically, psychologically, and also philosophically that how all these things work in together combination to create the desired results. As you know, on the very first day of the Manifestation Matrix program, I told you that there are many people who explain manifestation from a scientific point of view. And then there are people who explain it from a psychological point of view. And then there are people who explain it from a philosophic point of view. But here we are combining all these three things together. We are also digging into the science of manifestation. We're also discovering the psychology of manifestation. At the same time, we are paying attention to the philosophy behind manifestation. That's why I always say that this is the perfect match for anyone and everyone who wants to learn about the power of manifestation. Now, before I get into the subject and before I get into the teaching, I really want to give you a recommendation. If any of you wants to learn about how to visualize in the best way, all right, how to visualize your desire, how to manifest your desire. So there are two books that I'm going to recommend you. And I highly encourage you that you get your hands on these two books, okay? Start studying these two books from today onwards. Read them from cover to cover. Read them again and again, over and over and over again, until whatever is written in these books become a part of who you are, becomes a part of how you live your daily life, throughout your life. So these two books are, the first one is this amazing that book I have right now in my hand, The Invisible Power by Genevieve Buran. Now, this book clears all the concepts regarding visualization. It teaches you why we should visualize. It teaches you, how important it is to visualize. It gives you case studies and it explains you from a spiritual standpoint that how, why, and what has to be there when we talk about visualization. And the second book that I'm going to recommend you is the book from Jose Silva, The Mind Control Method. Now, that book really teaches you the practical side of how you can tap into the alpha level of your brain. All right. Because when we are on alpha level, that is the time when we are communicating with the higher power. That is the time when we are communicating with the higher intelligence. And when we are communicating with the higher intelligence, or we must say that when we are in direct connection with the universal mind, that is when we attract the results that we want to attract. All right. I'll give you an illustration here. And I really want you to understand the idea behind this illustration. Okay. Now, we all need to understand that we are living in an infinite universe, okay? And in this infinite universe, there are infinite frequencies, all right? Now, when I say there are infinite frequencies, you need to understand that it's not about like happiness frequency or sadness frequency. There are multiple frequencies, okay? What does this mean by multiple frequencies? By that, I mean that your goal is on a certain frequency, all right? Now, just look at this diagram that is right there in front of you, okay? In your life, you are at a certain stage. Now, it could be any stage, right? And your goal is on a certain frequency. Now, let's say, and let's imagine you are on this A1 frequency. Let's just suppose, all right? This is where you are right now on this A1 frequency. And your goal is on this AZ frequency. Now, the simplest signs for you to achieve your goal is to tune into this AZ frequency. As soon as you tune into this AZ frequency, whatever is on this AZ frequency will be start attracting towards you, and that's how you will achieve your goal. Now you might be thinking like, but how does it possible, Subir? What do you mean by this frequency concept and all that stuff? All right, let me explain you by giving you an example, okay? We all have mobile phones, right? These mobile phones operate on a frequency. Now, if I have your number and if I dial your number, it doesn't matter wherever in the world you are. If I dial your number, it will put both of us together in a direct communication link. Similarly, my dear friends, your goals are on a frequency. And when you tap into that frequency, you attract whatever is that frequency and you attract your goal. And the only way in which you can tap on the frequency of your goal is through emotions. There is no other way. Keep it in your mind, mark it in your mind. Your emotions are the way through which you can tap into a higher or lower frequency. If you're feeling inspired, if you're feeling motivated, if you're feeling excited, ready, you are on a higher vibration, you're on a higher frequency, your emotions are of a highest level. And that time you will be tuned onto a different frequency. But at the same time, if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling dejected, if you're feeling lost, you're on a lower frequency and you will be tapped into the lower frequency. And whatever is on that lower frequency, you will attract it. That is the reason why when people are feeling miserable, they are on a miserable frequency and they keep attracting all those people who are feeling miserable in their life. And when people are on a fine vibration, on an exciting vibration, they will observe everybody who is happy in their life. They will observe everybody who is feeling great in their life. You know why? It's not because that at the same time, there are not those people exist who feel bad about their life. People who are feeling bad about their life, people who are feeling super amazing about their life, they both exist at the same time. But the difference is that on which frequency you are. Whatever is your frequency, that shows you everything in your world. And as I told you, the only way for you to tune into the right frequency is by using your emotions, is by uplifting your emotions, and how you can uplift these emotions. This is where, my dear friends, you have to use the mind tools we have. Now, those mind tools are also called as our higher faculties. There are 6 higher faculties that we have. These higher faculties are perception, intuition, imagination, reason, will, and memory. And these are the 6 faculties that really allows you to tap into that higher vibration. These are the 6 faculties that allows you to get tuned onto a higher vibration, onto higher frequency, so that you can attract the results that you want to attract. And I'm going to explain you using the mind diagram that how you can really tap into that higher frequency. But before we get into that, I would love to read a couple of lines and a couple of passages from this book for you, which really makes a lot of sense about visualization, which really clears a lot of concepts and a lot of ideas that as a person we have to apply when we are practicing the power of visualization into our life. Okay, so let's read this very first lines on this book. Okay, now the chapter 1 is about order of visualization, and the chapter starts by saying that the exercise of the visualizing faculty keeps your mind in order and attracts to you the things you need to make life more enjoyable in an orderly way. And then he said, by continuing, if you train yourself, now this is the key line here. If you train yourself in the practice of deliberately picturing your desire. Now, this is where many people miss it. Okay. When people start thinking about their goal, many of them have this false concept that the desire of my goal should come naturally to me. No, it's never, ever going to happen. If you have a goal, there are chances that 99% of the time, the desire for your goal does not come naturally to you. In the beginning, you will have a wish. In the beginning, you will have an idea that, okay, this is what I want to accomplish. This is where you have to deliberately, that means consciously, decisively, you have to decide it at your end that I have to deliberately picture myself. And then he said, carefully examining your picture, you will soon find that your thoughts and desires produce in a more orderly procession than ever before. Having reached a state of ordered mentality, you're no longer in a state of mental hurry. Hurry is fear and consequently destructive. Now, I'll explain you the same thing on a diagram, okay? And let us understand what exactly the author mean here, right here, okay? Let's say this is your mind, as we have already discussed in the many of our videos. This is your body right here, okay? Now, our mind is divided into two parts. We have a conscious mind, we have a subconscious mind, and this dumbbell-shaped element is your brain. That's correct. So this is our conscious mind, this is our subconscious mind, this is our brain, and this is our body. Now, let us understand what the author is trying to say here in the very first paragraph, okay? He says that if you train yourself in the practice, all right, I'll just reopen that board. It says that if you train yourself in the practice of deliberately picturing your desire, that means you have to consciously create this image in your conscious mind. And the image of what? The image of your desire. Now, this is where two faculties of the mind comes into place, my dear friend. Okay. The first faculty that come into place is perception. Okay. And the second faculty that comes into place is imagination. Now, why they are important? Let's read the line again. If you train yourself in the practice of deliberately picturing your desire, that means you have to consciously create that image in your mind. Now, when you will start creating the image consciously, what are the battles you will face? One of the first battle that you will face, there will be huge resistance coming from your sensory factors. You know why? Because there is a outside result that is there in your life right now, and this result is going to interfere with your conscious picture. This result is going to keep reminding you why you cannot achieve anything that you want to achieve. This result is going to keep telling you again and again, that don't be mad. This is not possible. This is where, my dear friends, you have to use this first faculty that is called as perception. Now, how we can use this perception? Everybody is using their perception, but the problem is that they have been using their perception in a wrong way. This is where we have to understand it and we have to correct it. Instead of looking at your present results, feeling bad about it, feeling sad about it, feeling dejected about it, you have to tell yourself, okay, whatever my results are right now, they're because of my past thinking. And if I keep thinking about these results right now, I know what is going to manifest in my life. So instead of looking at everything that is bad about your present results, just find one thing that is good about your results. Maybe compare your life from 5 years, go 5 years back and compare your life. Go 10 years back and compare your life. I can bet you will find one thing good about your life then. You will find one good thing about your results. And this is where you alter your perception. And then, but understand that you have to fight a lot for altering your perception. It's not easy. That is the reason why author clearly pointed that if you train yourself in the practice of deliberately picturing your desire and carefully examining it, because then you have to carefully examine. And this is where you have to use your imagination, my dear friends. Reject whatever that idea is. Remember what I told you yesterday, that you have the free will. Remember what I told you about the conscious mind, that is your choice. what kind of ideas you want to accept and what ideas you want to reject. So you can reject the idea of present results. And then by using your imagination, you can build that new idea, my dear friend. You can build that new idea of the desire that you want in your life. And this is where you have to impress it here. This is where you have to impress it here. And then the next faculty comes into place. What is the next faculty? There is a faculty of will. Now you have to hold this picture of desire that you have to hold it right here in your conscious mind. And then when you do it with the law of repetition, when you keep thinking about this new idea, when you keep thinking about this new desire, how amazing it is, when you keep thinking about how grateful you are, you know what's going to happen? This desire is going to find its root in your subconscious mind. And what is our subconscious mind? It is where the emotions are. So when you keep impressing that desire again and again, again and again, again and again, again and again to your subconscious mind, what will happen? This will rewire your brain. It will create new brain cells. And then these are the new brain cells that are going to move your body into new vibration, ultimately changing the action, creating a reaction from the universe and creating the results that you want, my dear friends. That is the fundamental law. That is the fundamental principle. That is the fundamental thing that you have to understand, that you really, really have to fix in your mind. So when you're practicing the visualization, apply this, what Genevieve Behrend is talking about here. And understand that Genevieve Behrend is the only student of Thomas Troward. Thomas Troward never ever had any student in his life, but she was the only student of Thomas Troward. And Thomas Troward is the one writer that has written exceptional material on the idea of mindset, on the idea of psychology. And you know what? He relates that from a scientific point of view. If you ever have the chance, go and study his material, and you will realize that his material, maybe in the initial, you will have a lot of difficulty studying his material because his material is not easy. Okay, his material is really tough. But as you keep studying it, as you try to find the hidden meanings behind Thomas Troward's work, you're going to realize that Thomas Troward has been an exceptional author, and he teaches you a lot of great science about the life and about the mind. All right. So it's your imagination, perception, and will used in a synonymous combination. But there are other faculties that has a role here also that I'll explain you in a few minutes from now. But let's read the next line here in this book. Okay. It states that, in other words, when your understanding grasps the power to visualize your heart's desire and hold it with your will, this is exactly what I explained you. It attracts to you all the things requisite to the fulfillment of that picture by the harmonious vibration of the law of attraction. You realize that since order is heaven's first law and visualization, this is the key. You realize that since order is heaven's first law and visualization places things in its natural order, it must be heavenly to visualize. So never treat visualization as something, as a task that you have to do. Understand that the more you fell in love with visualizing your desire, the more you fell in love with the idea of that, how amazing this can be, you will realize how powerful this tool is. You will realize how amazing this tool is, my dear friend. Okay, now moving further, I want to share some more key points with you today. Now, this is another one. He said that the conscious use. Now, we are coming back to this again, same point. You remember, this is just the first chapter of the book, and the author has used this word conscious certain times now here. All right. He knows that it is the conscious use of the visualization that will ultimately autopilot this process in your mind. You see, anything that we are not used to doing is not an autopilot in our life. And we know that if we want to make something happen in our life, we have to start learning how to autopilot things. If you're not autopiloting the things in our life, we're never going to achieve the results that we want to achieve. We're never going to get the results that we want to have. Because 97% of the results we are getting in our life right now, they're because of the autopilot's thought in our life. And if your results are not good, if your results are not that you want, that means you have to rewire your brain and autopilot some positive thoughts into your mind. This is where visualization plays a key role. And now the same line continues by saying that the conscious use of this great power attracts to you multiple sources, in, intensify your wisdom, and enables you to make use of advantages which you formerly failed to recognize. What does this mean? This means that as you consciously and deliberately keep practicing visualization every single day, three things will happen. Number one, your faith in the power of visualization will increase. Number two, your confidence in your ability will increase. And number three, the things, the resources that you're attracting right now, they're going to multiply by 10 times, 20 times, even far bigger than that. I can promise you that. I can assure you that. All right. And then you need to understand that, you know, visualization. Okay. Now, this is where I'm going to contradict the traditional ideas, but at the same time, I'm going to give you something powerful here. Okay. If you're a beginner, initially, you really have to consciously practice it. Okay. Because you're not into the habit of it. You're not into the habit of like, okay, building your desires like this. You're not into the habit of looking at your goal card and say, oh my God, that's amazing. You're not into the habit of it. I truly understand that. I have been there, and every time when I set a new goal, I am always there, because every time when you set a new goal, it's again the same process that you have to go through. Okay. So for certain period of time, you have to consciously and deliberately keep pushing yourself, keep reminding yourself about that goal, keep reminding yourself about what you want to accomplish, keep reminding yourself about that, okay, this is what I want to achieve. And then you will reach a time when just one thought about your goal will put you into a certain vibration that you will feel so amazing and so great about yourself. Okay, so consciously practice it until the time you reach it on an autopilot mode, where even just small idea about your goal just shake up your whole body. All right. And then there's another passage in this book that talks about in visualizing or making mental picture, you're not endeavoring to change the law of nature. In fact, you're fulfilling those laws. When you are thinking about earning millions of dollars, that does not mean that you're going to take it from away from someone else. Whenever you're visualizing something, you're playing with this universal power, you're utilizing that universal power so that it can work for you at the same time while it is working for billions of people outside. you know and I always say this is from, I think, from, I forget who said that, but it says that from abundance you took abundance and the abundance still remains. That means when you're visualizing and when you're taking your share from this abundance, that does not mean that someone else's share is less now just because you have taken your share. Now, you see, this is the idea we have been programmed with. Since kids, we have been told that you cannot take more than your share. But there's enough share for everyone. There's plenty share for everyone. So I'm not taking from anybody's share. I'm just taking whatever my share is. This usually happens whenever there are guests at the home and you try to eat the food that is there for the guest, and we have been told, no, it's for the guest. You have already taken your share. Don't take much, right? But there's always and always and always abundance there for everybody. And you have to understand that if you don't ask, if you don't seek, if you don't knock, you don't get. So this is what you need to understand about the visualization process. Okay. And these ideas seems very simple on the outlet. But when you start practicing these ideas, you will realize how powerful and magnificent these ideas are. So you have to learn how to alter your perception. When you alter your perception, my dear friend, and understand that when you're thinking about perception, there is only two kinds of perception. There is a perception that is governed by the outside results, and then there is a perception that is inspired by the hope of the future. And this is the perception we have to hold on to, the perception that is inspired by the future. And when you build that kind of perception, it is going to impact your reasoning. Now, what is your reasoning? The reasoning is your ability to think. That means when you change your perception, it changes your thinking. What happens when your thinking changes? When your thinking changes, that means now you're triggering a better imagination. Now, when your imagination is triggered, this is where you have to use willpower. When you use your willpower, you hold on to that idea, you hold on to that imagination. What you're doing is you're reprogramming your memory with the new image. And when that happens, my dear friend, this is where when you trigger your intuition. And that intuition brings all the resources, all the help from the universe towards you and you attract what is called as abundance. And now this one idea, that I have shared with you just now right here, I'm expanding this idea in my book. I'm really talking about this idea in very much details as possible in my book on the chapter. It's a chapter 6, and also in some other chapters, I'm explaining this because this idea is life changing. This idea is transformative. This idea is, it's like the best idea I have ever learned in my life so far as, coaching people about mindset is concerned. So understand that the more you visualize your heart's desire, the more better you will become, the more great and inspiring results you will achieve. Now, in the next 2 episodes that will be a part of this, Manifestation Matrix program series, the one will be about relaxation, meditation, and visualization, and the other one will be about the goal achieving visualization. So there are going to be 2 visualization sessions now ready for you in the next few days. And I will encourage you that you really listen to any one of them at least for 30 days on the go. Don't worry about how you will accomplish 30 days. Set a goal of 30 days and then pay attention to one day at a time, one goal at a time. And I can bet you, I'm again saying that I can bet you that you will really, really end up achieving far greater and marvelous results than you can imagine of yourself right now. Okay. So on that note, thank you so much for being here, being a part of this program. I really, really appreciate your, participation. I really appreciate the kind of love and support you're giving to me. I receive messages from people on WhatsApp sharing that how great these ideas looks to them now, how easily I have elaborated these ideas to them. And that really makes me feel accomplished. That really makes me feel that I have done something really worthwhile, right? And I really encourage you, if you believe this idea can impact even one more person in your life, bring them on this program. It's free. It's costing nothing. It's costing your time, but time is your most important commodity. All right. So spend it wisely. So thank you so much. Now start visualizing your heart's desire, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, and bye-bye, everybody.